Hello, it's Gothic Brandon. Today we're doing a video about the Babadook and my discussion of the Babadook finishing my scary series, and you may wonder why I'm doing it in November. Well, frankly put, I originally started doing this video on Halloween. I got it to sync, and I got really mad about it this morning. Because I'd be able to sync on my entire video like 9 minutes into the end. I was what I was. So we're gonna do it anyway. Plus, I got a Halloween themed mug, so get bent. So the Babadook is a symbol of the grief process, and I'm using the video from CZsWorld, History of the Babadook / horror history as my kind of background for the Babadook itself, because he covered the history of the Babadook, and it was in a popular 2014 film, which he covered in the video. It's a word translated from the Babadook, which is Serbian for the boogeyman. And it deals with the Kubler-Ross cycle for grief, which deals with the 5 steps of denial, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and anger. Not necessarily in that order, but it's in a kind of a similar non-linear path. The ending is acceptance of it. The beginning phase normally is denial of it or anger or dealing with either denial or anger. And in the Babadook movie, the Babadook has a book that the kid found out about.
Why don't I look like the page in the book? I'll be on your skin till it makes you see my name. Babadook. Your kid is a freak and your mind is weak. You dare to devour my bedtime record. Creep in your head for your family with dread. You crazy or misunderstood. So tear all the pages and set them in place, but it won't get you off the verse. So say my name.
And then the mom read it. And in the book, he says things like, "A friend of you and me, come and see what's underneath. Make you do things you regret. You can't get rid of the Babadook. You best to give me a home, make me a room." In his book, that's what he says in some degree of what that means is the Babadook is a symbol for grief. You can never really get rid of grief. Dealing with the loss of a loved one. You gotta live with it and have it just be in your life, regardless. And in the movie, the Babadook is living in their basement, which is what the protagonist's wife's husband, the protagonist's husband's, dead husband stuff is in. And she's been denying the grief of his absence for the past, 7 years in the movie, which is the same day her son was born. So they don't celebrate his birthday on his birthday because of the whole anniversary of her husband dying. So she's been living in that denial for years. And the Babadook became that grief personified as her husband.
Down on your knees, tremble and breathe. Fear and extortion is all that I need to complete the enslavement from down in the basement. Your utter destruction is all that I feel. I'm a distant thought in the hippocampus. How will you go with the secret madness?
It became a point of growth for the monster. And the Babadook fed off of her denial, the mental illness itself of depression, and it became to feed and puppeteer or control her. Because in the climax, they fight, her and her son. She butchers her dog, and she's gonna go kill her son, because the Babadook basically made a deal for her where her and her dead spouse can be together again if she kills her son.
Like a nail in a game, I'm a pills to deny this might get a bit exciting. First is first, to quench your thirst in the drawer with the knives will grind and fighting. Then you can play some seek and find. You and the boy in the butcher's knife. Just like a person who show no mercy. Grief is a measure of taking lives.
So, and in the end, the son fights her. The son shows her love still, and the Babadook is repulsed by that, and it vomits itself out of her. And when the protagonist grabs the symbols of the Babadook, the hat and the coat, it reacts and runs into the basement, and it's been in the basement all this time. And now they're able to deal with the Babadook, and she basically gets the worms from the dead dog's gravesite and feeds the Babadook to keep him sated. And you may wonder what it has to deal with me and why I'm talking about the Babadook itself. Well, so I have a Babadook. Like, for me, it's the symbolic of, like, my special person and them missing in my life. Because, frankly put, we're not going to be seeing each other for the next 6 months. Give or take. And, you know, she's been in my mind all the time. I think about her a lot. She's in my house, like, in photos. She's on my phone in photos. Similarly to how the character that I have in my book, Beneath the Waters Bodies Lie, Larry, has photos of Noelle, the protagonist, and her family, and her kids, you know. And just like with Larry, who's heavily in love with Noelle, I'm heavily in love with my special person, but I also am aware that I need to keep it in check. I did a video about my sexual instinct and retraining it. And I decided with Beneath the Waters Bodies Lie to pursue the avenue of emotions and, like, what if I left love run rampant and how that manifests. And similarly enough to Babadook, the protagonist's son, Alex, died in a horrific hit and run. And, you know, Larry was there. He witnessed the whole thing happen on his property. He tried to save her son. He did CPR, first aid, the whole gambit.
Ever wonder why when a car crashes? The reason we all wanna see the wreckage. We'll need the details, even if it's graphic. Nothing like a massacre, talking about traffic. Line them up for me. Draw the curtain, it's fiery, captivate. They want a story. Got an audience, I won't make them wait. I stretch so long, painting on your smiles. The damn lines are off. Have I become something else?
He couldn't save him, and he lived with the grief of that for years upon end. The law doesn't hold him guilty for what he did, or what he failed to do, but he still feels like he needs to owe it to protect her and redeem himself from that grief, that passing away of that. So, Larry, you know, loves Noelle. He felt the grief of the death of her loved son, her firstborn son, because Noelle had, like, I think 4 more kids in the rest of it, like, afterwards. So she would have, like, 5 kids with her husband. So he became a way to almost, like, protect Noelle. Her grief was taken care of already. She grieved her son passing and is able to move on with her life. Larry didn't do that. Larry had grieved and re-grieved and re-grieved. There was no moving past the steps in the cycle of bargaining and accepting it. That was always just anger, denial, and depression for him. Larry had numerous pictures of Noelle and her family in his office place, at his house, in his desk drawers at work, things like that. And Larry goes down the path of a serial killer in an effort to protect the protagonist. He starts to eat people as well because he wants to get rid of the evidence of his crimes happening. He said this at work. And at the climax, Larry says to the protagonist, Noelle, when she catches him red-handed, in the middle of dismembering somebody and eating them, he says things like, "I was protecting you. You're a goddess. I didn't realize that you didn't want this. I didn't realize you didn't want this. You know, I did kill and eat people. I did it in the name of love. I did it to protect you and honor you and your family. And Alex, you know, you're my darling. You're my dove. I'll do anything for you. There's nothing wrong. I'm not turning myself in. Over my dead body. She shoots him. And his dying words were, "I'm sorry, my love, and I love you," to her. So, Larry became the Babadook to Noelle, and conversely, Noelle was also the Babadook to Larry. Because when I go through the cycle, I was going to have it end where she murders him in self-defense, and it's just going to end there. With my special person in my life now, I decided to move past that and go through the process of grieving and therapy and trauma, because I feel like she needs a little bit more of that, like, in her life personally. Like, going through stuff with her life, and I feel like her family doesn't really give her that time of day, that care that she needs.
But
That's another video entirely. It's another topic in itself, and it's something I have no control over. So, but, in the ending, when she talks about Larry in regards to her husband, because her husband doesn't see the point of Noelle writing everything out, Noelle has said in her retelling of it, her account, her reason for writing all this, she said that he didn't personally witness the horrors. He never witnessed his best friend acting like a monster. Larry had emotionally devoured her. He claimed her as his final victim. Stillwater had claimed her memory, her grief, her sense of security. Trauma was the knife that filleted her. Peace was ripped out like an artery. So, then she writes the story to almost redeem it and claim it, and to keep the memory of him from having this sense of overpowering possession to being a lot more mellowed out and calmer and just a lot less traumatic, if you will. So, while I see Larry as a sympathetic villain because I was also the inspiration for Larry, Noelle was his Babadook, and she unknowingly devoured him emotionally because he was obsessed with her. And it caused her, Noelle caused Larry's fixation unknowingly, and it just kind of redeemed and lingered and festered and flourished because he didn't keep it in check. He was the sexual instinct unrestrained, in my perception of Larry. Oh yeah, so the path Noelle took was going through the cycle of grief and moving on. Larry kept rehashing the cycle and didn't move on towards acceptance. And like in the Babadook movie, we each have to go through that cycle to become accepting of it. We won't truly ever let go of the grief of our loved ones moving or passing or dying, but it won't hold its power over us like it did with Larry and the son of Noelle's Alex dying, and feeling like he couldn't control it, and he was guilty for failing in their time of need. Like, this is gonna be a shorter video, partly because I don't want to. I'm limited on time, actually, to be honest. I have to go to work pretty shortly, so. But yeah, my introspection as a 4 took the Babadook, and I used the Babadook itself as a symbol for what happened with Larry, because I finished the book. I have it it's somewhere in between my first copy being edited through, me proofreading it, getting a second copy back, so then it'll be publicly out there. And somewhere in that process right now. So it's getting closer. But yeah, I think that we all need to learn how to live with our grief, live with our trauma, live with our stressing in life. And it's going to look differently for every person. And that's pretty much it. That's the basic bare bones, short video of it all. I hope you guys had a great time out trick-or-treating last week. Clocks were set back this weekend, if you didn't know. Well, this weekend I was recording it, so hope you guys had your clock set back. Everything's digital, so it's kind of like, analogs and some digital clocks need to be rewound. My phones are automatic, and I think most, setting clocks back, things like that. Be true to yourselves. Be present in life, as Tom Hughes says. Take care, guys. Goodbye.